Hello friends, this video on current electricity part 13 is brought to you by examfear.com. No more fear from exam. Please make sure that you have watched all the videos till part 12 before going ahead with part 13. Now let us see how does a low resistance conductor look like and a high resistance conductor look like. I will just show you pictorially the internal structure, how it would look like if I say that it has low resistance. So when I talk of high resistance, it would be something like this, where you have too many obstacles in the path of the electrons. So the electrons are moving. So too many obstacles in the path of electrons, that is too many collisions, and therefore high resistance. Similarly, when I talk of low resistance, that means lesser number of obstacles in the path of electrons, therefore lesser number of collisions, and hence lesser resistance and therefore greater current. Because in this case, the electrons will very quickly reach the other end, or they will move quite faster. Therefore, the current will be more. So lower the resistance, greater is the current. Higher the resistance, lower is the current. Right? So now let us look at the different factors on which resistance depends. Before that, we will mathematically find out an expression for resistance, because that expression itself will tell us the factors on which resistance depends. So from Ohm's law, what did we see? From Ohm's law, we saw that potential difference V is equal to IR, where R is the resistance. So what will be R? R will be nothing but V divided by I. Now what is this I? This I is the current flowing through the conductor. In our previous slides, while we were talking about drift velocity, we found out a relationship between current and drift velocity, right? So according to that, what is current? Current is nothing but ENA into VD, right? Current is equal to ENA/VD, where VD is the drift velocity, A is the area of the conductor, N is the number density of electrons inside the conductor, and E is the charge on an electron. So we can write it this way. Now this can again be written as V divided by ENA. What is VD? We have also calculated the expression for VD. What was drift velocity? Drift velocity was equal to E tau divided by m. This was the value of drift velocity. So if we put this value, we get m divided by E tau. Right? So this is the value of drift velocity. Now, what can we write this potential? We know that electric field E is equal to potential difference per unit length. Right? So using that, we can write V is equal to electric field into length divided by ENA into m divided by E tau. So this E and this E gets cancelled. So we are left with m divided by NE square tau into A. This m into L. Now if you look at it, this m is nothing but mass of the electron, N is the number density of electron, E is the charge on electron, and tau is the time elapsed between each successive collision. So if you look at this entire thing is dependent on the material of the conductor, because they are all properties specific to a particular substance. For example, if I consider a particular conductor, the number density of electron will be constant for that conductor. Mass of electron and charge on electron is anyways constant, and tau, that is the time between each, average time between each successive collision. These are the values which are very specific to a specific material. So we can say that it is constant for a specific material, and we call this constant as rho. So we write it as rho into L by A. Therefore, the expression which we get is resistance R is equal to rho L by A. And what is this rho? This rho is nothing but, this rho is known as resistivity or specific resistance of the conductor. So this rho is known as resistivity or specific resistance of the conductor. So it is material dependent. For a particular conductor, resistivity is constant. Similarly, for some other conductor, the resistivity value is different. We will also learn about resistivity in detail in one of the later slides. So for now, we found the expression for resistance. And what do we observe from this expression? We can very clearly see that what are the factors on which resistance is dependent. So let us quickly note down the factors on which resistance depends. So the first factor will be length of the conductor. As we can see, let us write down the expression which we found in the previous slide. It says R is equal to rho L by A. So from here we can see that resistance is directly proportional to the length of the conductor. So if the length of the conductor increases, the resistance increases. Now logically also you can prove it for yourself. For example, let us suppose you have your conductor. If you increase the length of the conductor, what will happen? So if the length increases, that means the electrons will have to cover more distance to reach towards the positive end, right? So if it has to cover more distance means it will have to face more obstacles, there will be more collisions, and therefore the resistance will increase. So therefore the resistance will increase as the length of the conductor increases. The second factor is the cross-sectional area of the conductor. As we can see from the expression, R is inversely proportional to area. Logically also, if you think it like this, now if the cross-sectional area is increased, in that case what happens? It is something like this. Let us suppose you have a road where the road is narrow enough, the road is wide enough where only 3 cars can stand beside each other, right? So now let us suppose that if you have huge traffic, the road is completely jammed. So the vehicles are standing one after the other, right? Now if suddenly the width of the road is increased to double, so if the width of the road becomes twice than what it is, then what will happen? The vehicles will get more space to move, right? Even though 3 cars are standing, still some more empty space is there through which vehicles can run fast, right? So similar is the case here. If the length of the conductor was increasing, in that case, you will have to face more obstacles as you covered that extra length. But when the width of the conductor is increased, that is the cross-sectional area is increased, in that case, your obstacle still remains the same. But you get more space to move freely without colliding with the obstacles. So therefore, you get a chance to avoid some collisions because you get some free space to move or to bypass the collisions. Therefore, your resistance tends to decrease and the resistance so if cross-sectional area increases, your resistance decreases. The third is the nature of material of the conductor. So that is evident from the factor resistivity, that is rho. As I mentioned before also, resistivity rho is dependent on the material of the conductor, because you saw in the previous slide what are the values on which this resistivity depends on. It depends on the number density of electron, it depends on the relaxation time, that is the time between each successive collision, mass and charge on electron. So the nature of material of the conductor also plays an important role. Other than that, an important role is played by temperature. As temperature increases, what happens? What do you think will happen? If temperature increases, will the resistance increase or it will decrease? Now, we will study about the temperature dependence of resistance in detail in the next slide, because you should visualize it in order to understand it clearly, right? So temperature of a conductor is another important factor. So these are the 4 factors on which resistance of a conductor depends. So we will quickly review it once. So if this is the conductor and if you increase the length of the conductor, for example, right now this is the conductor. If you increase the length till here, what will happen? The electrons will have to cover this extra path, and in this extra path it will meet more obstacles. More obstacles means more collision, therefore more resistance. When I talk about cross-sectional area, let us suppose that this conductor cross-sectional area is increased till here. Now this extra area, even though the cross-sectional area is increased, but your metal density will still remain the same, right? So in that case, when the electrons will be moving, what will happen? It will get some free space to avoid collision, because these atoms will be placed in a scattered way. So the electrons will get some free space through which it can go, avoiding the collision. So collisions will decrease and therefore the resistance will also decrease. Right? Now we will see how resistance varies with temperature. Now basically what happens is, when the temperature increases, the random motion of the molecules increases. If you go to the previous slide, you can see that right now these atoms are at rest. That means the metal atoms are at rest. But when we start increasing the temperature, even the metal atoms start vibrating. As a result, the collision between the metal atoms and the electrons increases all the more. Since the collision increases all the more, therefore the resistance also increases. Right? So when temperature increases, these metal atoms, that is the positive ions here, they also start moving. So when they also start moving and the electrons are also moving, so the frequency of collision increases all the more, and therefore the resistance increases. Right? So now let us look at the temperature dependence of resistance mathematically. It was found experimentally long back that the resistance at any temperature T is equal to the resistance at 0 degree Celsius into 1 plus alpha T plus beta T square. Now since it talked about temperature which is very small, therefore this term was neglected. Because mostly it was found that T was very small, therefore this term was neglected. So it was found that resistance at any temperature T is equal to resistance at 0 degree Celsius into 1 plus alpha T. And this alpha was known as the temperature coefficient of the conductor. This is known as the temperature coefficient of resistance. So this temperature coefficient can be written from this expression as RT minus R naught divided by R naught into T. So this is the temperature coefficient of resistance. So if this temperature coefficient is positive, that means RT is greater than R naught, right? So if alpha is positive, that means the resistance at any temperature T is greater than the resistance at 0 degree Celsius. Similarly, if alpha is negative, that means resistance at any temperature T is less than the resistance at 0 degree Celsius. So it is found that temperature coefficient of resistance is positive for conductors and it is negative for insulators and semiconductors. Now don't bother about semiconductors and insulators now, because we have a separate lesson where we will talk in detail only about semiconductors. Okay. So temperature coefficient of resistance is positive for conductors. That means as the temperature increases, the resistance also increases, right? So you understood how does resistance vary with temperature. So these were mainly the 4 factors on which resistance of a conductor depends. Please remember this expression of temperature coefficient of resistance, because many a times you come across problems where you need these expressions. Thank you. Please visit examfear.com to watch free educational videos, try free online tests, get the best quality study materials, study from the best tutors and mentors, and much more. Thank you once again.